us, he's saying, don't say too much and don't talk too fast. I need more young people. Young people, y'all should get behind me on that. You ever tried having a conversation with a young person today? One thing you'll know that when a person is really young, and I don't know what they are, I'm in millennials, generation X, I don't know what they are, but you know they're young, and I know they're young, and I know I was young. Here is one way you can always tell a young person. You ready for it? Young people know everything. That's how you can tell it. It's not about age, it's not about height, it's not about the style of dress. All you got to do is ask them something, and if they refuse to say, I don't know, they're young. Because young people know everything. It is only when you get old that you realize. That's how you know you're old. Not because of what your social security or your birth certificate say. When you finally get enough sense to come to yourself and realize, I don't know. The little bit I thought I knew, I'm even questioning that now. As a son, you get up in age. Am I right about it? So look, the preacher's helping us. He's saying what? Don't say too much. And when you talk to God, don't talk too fast. Don't be rash with your mouth. Don't feel like you got to make a deal with God. The reality is that God has already made a deal with us. He has already provided the question he's already provided the answer to the question of the ages. He has already provided the propitiation for our sins in the form of his son. So we don't have to make a deal with God. We simply have to trust and obey. Am I right about it? Look what the tax collector says. Matthew 6 and 7 says, when you pray, do not use vain repetitions as the heathens do, for they think that they will be heard for their much speaking. Therefore, do not be like them, for your Father knows the things you have need of before you ask him. Don't ever think you're giving God new information. God, listen. I know you don't even know what's going on. Let me bring you up to speed, Lord, about what's really going on. The Bible says the eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding both the good and evil of all men. So look, you don't have to play let's make a deal with God. Verse 3, for a dream comes through much activity, and a fool's voice is known by many words. Watch out for people who talk too much. It is not a sign of wisdom, it is a sign of foolishness. When you live long enough and are in enough life experiences in a life situation, you will soon find out that the guy holding the most cards at the table is the one not saying nothing. That's the one you need to keep your eye on. That's the one you need to mark and watch, because he doesn't have to use his words to convince you. Do you follow what I'm saying? He's going to let it play out right before you. So always, I'm helping young people this Sunday, watch out for people who talk too much. Watch out for people who know everything about everybody. There's got to be something or somebody you don't know something about. You know what I mean? So watch out for that. The preacher's helping us here. And now he comes down here, and then now verse 4 and 5, now we get to the meat of it. He says, when you make a vow to God, do not delay to pay it. Raise your hand if you ever made a vow to God. And I know you're scared now because you never heard the word of the Lord. I should have asked that 10 minutes ago. But we know how it is when life begins to press up against us. We have a tendency to make a vow to God. When life goes dark and situations become grim, oftentimes in our prayer life, we will find ourselves ourselves making a vow to God. Saying, God, if you just deliver me this time. Lord, if you just heal my body this time, I'll serve you. If you can get me back to where I was this time, I'll really praise you. I'll really bless your name. I'll really go all in for you. Never realizing that God wants to do that anyway. It is God's will to do you good and not evil. And if you understand that as a believer, it will cause you to pause and not make a rash statement or make a vow to God that you can't keep. Here's, I'm going to let you know how I know I'm getting older and not younger. Starting to realize I don't know everything. And one of the things I'm starting to realize is not only do I not know everything, I don't even know myself as well as I thought. There are some things, Mark, when I was a young man, I said I would never do. I went on record. This is before YouTube. This is before I went on record and said, I will never. But I was young. Foolish. Spoke too quick. I didn't have enough life experience behind me. And I began to say some things that I would never do, only to find myself later in life doing the very things. Before I finish, somebody will say amen. I'm going to keep working on it. Look what the apostle says. He says, the things I desire to do, I do not. And the very things that I would not do, that's the very stuff I find myself doing. So all of that to say is we can't even be sure of ourselves. Are you with me? So how could we have the confidence to make a vow to God if we're not even sure how we're going to feel tomorrow? So the preacher is helping us. He's saying, what? Don't do it. The preacher is helping us. He's saying, look, watch what you say before God. I know what you told me when we were young boys and we were young men growing up, and I remember what you said. I remember what you did. But when you talk to God, don't talk to God that way. Because God is in heaven and we are here on the earth. And when you speak to God, you got to be careful not to make a vow and not pay it. Because whatever you say to God, God will require it of you. All right, am I right about it? Deuteronomy 23 and 21 says this. When you make a vow to the Lord your God, you shall not delay to pay it. For the Lord your God will require it of you. And it would be a sin to you to vow and not pay. Come on, this is in your Bible. But if you abstain from vowing, it shall not be a sin to you. That which has gone from your lips you shall perform, for you voluntarily vow to the Lord your God what you have promised with your mouth. Amen. Find somebody in the church and just tell them, watch what you say. Watch what you say, because God is listening. Watch not only what you promise me, watch out what you promise God. Because God does not take that stuff lightly. And what I'm trying to help you to understand is that when we are pressed with the pressures of life, We don't have to make a vow to God. We don't have to make a bargain with God. We don't have to make a deal with God. All we have to do is trust God. Amen. He desires to do you good and not evil. I have to ask him to heal you. He wants to heal you. You don't have to ask him to bless you. He wants to bless you. But in order to release his goodness, he wants you to be found being obedient. Not making a deal, not making a vow, but simply being obedient. If you got it, say, I got it. So watch out what you say. Why? Because God is listening. And then when you make a vow, you got to be careful. You got to pay what you owe. Look at there. Because one person you don't want to have bad credit with. I wish I had a real chance. Everybody is concerned about their credit with Equifax and all the agencies that rate your credit. You're trying to get a new house. You're trying to get a new car. And you're trying to do this. And you're writing letters to everybody trying to explain what happened. But when was the last time you tried to explain to God what you did? When was the last time you went in prayer and said, Lord, I should have never said it. I overstepped my bounds. I thought more of myself than I thought of you. And I made promises that I couldn't keep then, and I sure enough can't keep now. Touch your neighbor and say, clean up your credit with God. Here it is, verse 6 and 7. Do not let your mouth cause your flesh to sin, nor say before the messenger of God that it was an error. Why should God be angry at your excuse and destroy the works of your hand? So now, let's look at the witness and we'll wrap this thing up. Jephthah, the Gileadite, the 9th judge in Israel. That's important. He wasn't the first. He was the 9th judge in Israel. Judges 11:29, you read it, tells us that the Spirit of the Lord came upon Jephthah. Are you with me? Amen. The Spirit of the Lord came up, meaning that he had been chosen and anointed by God to bring deliverance to Israel from the Ammonites. Are you with me? Amen. Tell somebody to say the Spirit of the Lord was on him. The Spirit of the Lord. And watch this. He hadn't even said it. But the Spirit, the anointing was on him. Do you follow? That's verse 29. The anointing is on him. And God has handpicked him to deliver Israel. That's verse 29. Now verse 30. Look what it says. But he made a foolish and unnecessary vow to the Lord by offering whatever came out of his house first when he came home from battle. So in verse 30, he makes a vow that he didn't have to make. Because verse 29 already told us that what? The Spirit of the Lord was on him. That meant that victory was already guaranteed. Amen. Are you following me? Amen. The Spirit of the Lord was on him. And God was going to use him just like he had used the previous 8 judges to bring about victory without a vow. Amen. Do you follow me? So here he is. Now the story goes. You read it, verse 35. Now he says this. Judges 11:35. However foolish his vow, yet Jephthah understood that he was dealing with the Lord Jehovah. Amen. Now he's got the victory. Now he heads home to Mizpah. As is the custom of the Near East ancients, the women come out to celebrate the men of valor. And the women are led this time by his only daughter. She comes out with a timbrel. She comes out with a song and to dance, not only to honor her father, but all of the mighty men of valor that have fought and gotten Israel the victory. And as she comes out, it is now that Jephthah realizes the foolishness of what he said. He says to his daughter, "Oh, my daughter, you who troubled me. I didn't think you would be the first thing out of my house." And now, realizing what he has vowed, realizing what he has promised to God, and what he now must do, Jephthah says these famous words. He said, "I made a vow to God, and I can't take it back." Is that your words today? What vow, what promise have you made to God? What things have you uttered to God in the secrecy of your own prayer closet, in the privacy of your own bedroom, at the side of your own kitchen table, failing to realize that God wants to bless you anyway? But to raise your cachet with God, you made a rash vow. You made a foolish promise. And now you're required to pay. When all we had to do was realize that Jesus paid it all. Amen. Any promise ever needed, any offering or sacrifice ever required of God, Christ paid it all. Amen. He made a vow to the Father. He said, "If it be thy will, I'll drink it to the drug." He said, "That's my promise to the Father. There's no other way this can be accomplished." He said, "Father, I make a vow to you. I'll lay down my life for them, for their remission of their sins. Not my sins, but their sins. And I'll do it so they won't ever have to try to pay you back." Aren't you glad that Jesus made a vow and didn't take it back? Amen. Church, that's the word for the house for the new year. We go into the new year, let's be careful about what we say. Be careful what you say. Amen. And whatever you owe, pay it back. Amen. I'm going to tell you something that I've learned over time. If you promise to do good, and it comes at a cost to you, especially a cost greater than what you anticipated, keep your word. Amen. Here it is. I'm going to give it to you. God will pay you back. Amen. You hear what I'm saying? Yes. Don't ever try to back out of it because your circumstances have now changed. Well, when I made that promise, I was working. Well, when I said I would do that, I had a car. Now I don't. No, you promised to do something. Keep your word. Amen. And I'm telling you what I've learned. God will make up the difference. You follow what I'm saying? Amen. Why? Because we are his change agents in the earth. Yeah. Watch what you say. Pay what you owe. The writer of the wisdom books says this in conclusion to the whole thing. He says, "Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter." Amen. He said, "Fear God and keep his commandments. For this is the whole duty of man." Amen. I went way around the bush to tell you this. You don't have to play let's make a deal with God. Amen. obey and keep his commandments, and God will do the rest.